This is lesson 10.1, chapter 10. The first lesson is the stem and leaf plots. Stem and leaf plots are just another way of organizing data. So let's go ahead and see what this is about. It shows how the data are distributed. Each data value is broken into a stem, which is the digit or digits on the left, and it is broken into the leaf, which are the digits on the right. Now the key, this is the most important part. The key explains what the stem and leaves represent. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stem and leaf plot and see what it means. Now these numbers on the left are called the stem, and all these numbers are the leaves. And this is how it's read. The first number is 20, then we have a 20 again, then we have a 21. So this is how we write it if we had to write it over. 20, 20, 21, 22, 25, 27, 31, 34, 38, so on and so forth. Is that making sense? Okay, now how do I get the maximum value out of this? So do you see this? This is the last one. This is the last digit in the leaf. So 59 is our maximum. That's how you figure out the maximum. The minimum is the first one, which is the 20 is the minimum. Okay. Now the other big piece in this is the key. You can choose any number. In this case they chose 2, the bar and then the 0, and they said it's 20. I could have chosen 42. It's okay, but you have to say what it means, and usually a unit is followed. In this case they didn't show a unit, but if it said pets or texts or pizza slices eaten, whatever it is, then you will write the unit also. Let's take a look at how to make a stem and leaf plot. Now your book says to organize the data. I feel there is no need, but if you want to and if you think it makes your life easy, go ahead, organize the data. Then choose the stems and leaves, what you want to make. Leaf is the ones unit or the ones digit. All the other numbers are the stems, remember that. Make sure that you include, this is one of the important things again, include the stems without the leaves, and be sure to include the key. These are the major steps. Now let's say if the numbers are in the hundreds, then what do? Then also the leaf is only the ones or the rightmost digit. And if the number is a decimal, then you'll just write as normal, but you would show the decimal in the key. This is the important thing. Key becomes very important. Okay, let's go ahead and make some. When we make the stem and leaf plot, first make a line, then this line, and write down stem first, then write down leaf. Now when I look at the stem and leaf, the data, I look for the smallest number. I have something in the 40s, so I'll start with that. I'll go for the highest number. It's 110. So I'll just start with the stems. 4, 5, that is like 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. The 10 stands for the 100, and then that stands for the 110. You'll figure out as I'm going along. So I have a 45 and a 49. So 45 comes first, then 9. Okay, and then then I have 52. So I put the 2. I have a 64, 64, and 69. So I have a 4, 64, 64, 69. I don't have anything in the 70, so I'm going to leave the 70. I'm going to leave the 80 alone. Then I have a 91, so I'll place the 1 right next there. I have a 105 and then a 110. Now this is my key. In the key, remember, you can choose any number. In this case I'm going to go with 5, 2, and then say this is 52. That equals 52 texts sent. Always write the unit. Okay, now let's go with an example with decimals. Same exact thing, there's no difference. You have the stem and you have the leaf. In this case 1.2 is the minimum, so I'll start at 1, I'll go to 2, I know there's no 3, 4 or 3 or 4, but still I'll include the stems 3, 4, 5 and 6. So 1.2, so I'll just write the 2, 2.7, 3, 4 leave it, 5.0 and 6.7. So this is how you make it. Do not forget the key. Key equals, I'm just going to say 1 bar 2 equals 1.2 minutes in line. Don't forget that, minutes in line. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's go ahead and try to read some of these stem and leaf plots. This is one of the most important pieces of this lesson. They will include one of these questions. I will include it in a quiz, in a test, and I'm looking at a final where this is included just because it's so important. Now, on your papers, you'll see this kind of a line. Ignore that. I didn't know how else, to get rid of it. So for whatever reason, it got in and I couldn't remove it. So it's already printed on yours. So ignore that, this kind of a line, this green lines. Or in yours it shows up as black, but ignore those lines. They don't mean anything. Okay, how many values are in the set? So each of these leaves is a value. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have a total of 13 values in the data set. Now, which is the least value? I know that the first one, that's the least value. So least is 1, greatest is 45. What's the median? Now, there are a couple of ways to do the median. You can write them down again. 1, 3, 4, 6, 10, 14, so on and so forth. Or, and this is how I prefer to do it, or you can just cross out smallest, largest, smallest, largest, smallest, largest, smallest, largest, smallest, largest, smallest, largest, and you end up with 25. So that's the median. What's the range? The smallest number was 1, and so the maximum was 45, minimum was 1. So what's the range? Range is 45 take away 1, which is 44. Which value happens the most? Let's take a look. When I see this, I see that 31 happens twice. So 31 is your mode. How many values are less than 14? So this is 14. So how many values are less than it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 values are less than 14. How many values are more than 27? Okay, let's take a look. This is 27. How many values do you have after that? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values more than 27. So this is one of the key things that you have to do, where you have to interpret the data. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's take a look at this. It says numbers of miles students travel to get to school. We have the stem and leaf. Again, ignore these lines that are in the numbers, so ignore these. They're just there. I couldn't help it. Okay, now if you look in your papers, C is later, but I've sort of changed it here because it just feels that this is the right order. How many data values are in the set? Count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you count the leaves, that gives you the number of data values. How many students travel more than 15? So this is 14. So anything more than 14. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 students travel more than 14 miles. So given your unit. All right, now let's move on to the mean, median, and mode. When they give you the, all right, let's go with the median first. Like I've said before, this is the easier one to do, the median, the mode, and the range. So let's talk about these. Median, again, one small, one big, one small, one big, one small, one big, one small, one big. Now I have 2 numbers left. I have 18 and 20 left, just like before. Add up 18 and 20, divide by 2. That gives you 38 divided by 2, which is 19. So your median is 19. And that would be 19 miles, because remember the unit. Mode, which one repeated the most? I don't see any number that has been repeated more than once, so there is no mode, none. What's the range? The maximum is 33, the minimum is 5, so 33 minus 5, which is 28. So that's the range. Now they are asking us for the mean and interquartile range. Now let's take a look at the interquartile range first. Just like we do, either you can order these if you want to and then do it, but I like to do it. So 5, there are 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to make these into 2. So that's my first group. This is my second group. So 12 is the middle of the first one. That's Q1. And then Q3 is 25. So IQR is 13. That's how I would figure that out. Now going to the final one, which is the mean, and I know I'm doing this the last even though they asked it here, just because it's sort of, you know, the biggest thing where we have to calculate. You would just add them up. You would put 5 plus 7 plus 12 plus 14 plus 18, so on and so forth, and then you end up with 182. There are 10 values, divide it, you get a 18.2. So this is how you would work out in a stem and leaf plot. Go ahead, finish the rest. I'll see you next class.